What's up, guys? This is Wilson. I'm coming at you with O, JP, and Cam, and we are the Shepherds of Men. Today's movement, episode 10, is all about respect. So welcome to the movement. I want to forewarn everybody who is listening to this, if you just happen to come across or stumble across this, or a friend invited you and maybe not know you well enough, we do speak truth. We don't hold back, and we are going to be straight up in your face. If you are weak-minded, easily offended, or wear your emotions on your sleeve, you might want to turn this off now. I would implore you, though, to check it out. Listen through it if you can stomach it, and you might hopefully will learn something. Our goal is to help you stretch as a man or a woman listening to this to become better and become a better you. So today we're going to be talking about respect. I'm pumped about this. We've been thinking about this for a little while. And how you guys doing, fellas? How's your week been?
I'm doing good, man. Launched a new business under a telecommunications umbrella, and things were a little chaotic. It stretched me a lot. So it was very interesting to be put in that position for the very first time in my life. But it's been a blast, man. It's been a huge learning experience. I think that the only time you're growing is when you're put in a position where you are stretched. You know, I think when you get comfortable, you get a little stagnant. So it's been fun to see that. And my wife is, of course, my biggest cheerleader in that, and she's kept my mindset on straight. So it's kind of neat having that strong. Not that I need a strong woman in my life, but at the same time, yeah, I think it's important to have that good. I mean, I think you need it. Yeah.
We all need it.
Okay, fine, guys. All right, I'll admit it. It's trying to be tough, but
Right.
No, I think you're right. It is important to lower the ego a bit. It is important to have that strong woman home to help support you a bit.
I think what you meant is you don't need a crutch.
Right.
Yeah.
You know how to lead your family.
Yeah. She's definitely, she's not a crutch, but she knows, when what I call the bitch voice comes in, and she knows how to help me quiet that voice down. So it's nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're rocking hard too, man. It's been awesome since last time we got together. Been all over the place, a lot of traveling. Actually, just got back last weekend from a men's retreat leadership. What do we end up calling it? Like, I don't know what we ended up calling it. We came up with a bunch of names for it, but basically like father-son type thing. Took my oldest son out in the wilderness of Wildership. That's what we called it, Wildership weekend. Out in the wilderness of West Virginia. Beautiful place, just awesome. Did a lot of just man stuff, shot stuff, and shot clay pigeons and squirrels and groundhogs and anything that was moving. Fished, kayaked, hiked, made fire, did all kinds of stuff. Skint fit. I mean, and a lot of people were uncomfortable, honestly. We went with this group of guys, a group of entrepreneurs that some of them were city slickers, some of them were kind of in the middle, some of them were freaking Eagle Scouts, legitimately. So some were stretched more than others, but man, it was awesome. And it was the coolest thing about it was getting my kid out there and just having an opportunity to be in that environment. Just away from everything and around a bunch of real dudes, like a bunch of real men. We retired. One of the coolest things, we retired a American flag. I've never seen that before as a ceremony. One of the guys is like a ex-Navy badass, and he's like does flag retirements, and he did it there, and it's amazing. Really? Like that whole y'all should check one of those out sometime. It's amazing. Like the right way to retire a flag.
When you understand the magnitude of what you're doing, it cuts deep, man, when you start looking at that kind of stuff. Because I'll be honest with you, what's funny you say that is today I was hanging this flag up here in the recording studio that we
got some new
right
digs.
And the first thing I did was looked up flag integrity. Mm-hmm. Like, what do you do if you're going to hang a flag inside? How do you do it? Because it matters, man.
Yep.
I mean, what that flag symbolizes is way more than my convenience on how I want to hang it.
That's for sure.
So, my week has been great as well. So that was an intro right there.
To your flag.
Yeah, right off the rip. Man, I'm with you guys on the travel thing. I feel like I've been to the other side of the country and back.
But you have.
Oh, but I have. So now that we're talking about respect, this really goes in. I'm going to throw this story in here while I can. So the whole respect factor thing, and I sent you guys this, just the other day, I think, that was an epiphany for me. Men with beards are simply men without beards with beards. So y'all quit giving me shit about not having a beard.
Wait. Hold on. Go back. Men with beards
are just men without beards with beards.
Okay. Yeah. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Whatever. So, and the reason that I say that was
Because you can't grow beards is the reason you said that.
No, I was sitting on the plane and I had my wonderful phone, my iPhone, and I was reading a book and I had my arm propped up and I had my phone up against my lip. And it just so happened to find the only crevice on my phone, and that hair, not on your upper lip, but right there by your nose, got caught in the frame of my phone. And I'm sorry, dude. I know this
Was
is
it just
That'll bring tears to your eyes.
dude. Oh man, I brought tears to my eyes. I gave out this nasty little blood curdling scream, like, "Oh, jeez!" And you're sitting on a plane, right? So it's quiet. Nobody.
Everybody's like, surely that wasn't the big guy in the small shirt that just made that sound.
man.
Oh my gosh! I ripped my shirt and everything, man.
So speaking of respect, you have any respect for iPhone? Is what you're saying?
Right. Yeah.
So
Wow.
it was pretty eventful, and that's just. I mean, I went to Seattle, so that was just a small piece of the pie of how eventful that
I'm
trip
sure.
was. So
I'm sure.
But, yeah, good stuff, man. Got a lot done over this past couple weeks.
Yep.
Sounds like a Seattle rubbed off on you a little bit.
Oh.
I'm not sure what that means, but we'll get into that.
Maybe the beard thing.
You know
I don't know. Hey, we got to be respecting each other.
That's how you know I respect him.
Right.
If I'm not busting your chops, like, I don't know.
Listen to Wilson. Listen to Wilson come over here and mediator. All right, now be nice.
We're obviously at each other's throats. So I'm glad you
all
came
the
in.
time. All the time.
It's been a long time since we sat down and busted each other's balls like this.
It is.
Feels good.
Game on.
Right?
So
And you guys enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
So our week has been productive. It's been, balls to walls, basically, at my house with work and everything. And then with my wife's company and things that they're doing.
Wait a minute, those are called walnuts, right?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
tis the season.
Tis the season. Dude, I will say that this is my favorite time of the year coming up. I love Christmas and everything that what it embodies. So
Well, I have some. I love Christmas, but if your favorite time of the year is cold weather, then I've got some choice words for you after this podcast.
Well, no, wait a minute. It
It's not
sounded
necessarily
like
cold.
It sounded like it wasn't Christmas. It was Thanksgiving after
Dude.
that text thread. We're like, hey, so what should we have for Thanksgiving? We're having a Friendsgiving, a Shepherds of Men Friendsgiving. We're getting together. And
With us and all
think
our hot wives.
Yeah, everything that you put in that text thread was like apple pie, pumpkin pie, ice cream,
Chocolate.
Yeah. So
Is there going to be a turkey?
towards the end, I was like, "Are we doing anything other than dessert?"
Yeah. Hey, my family's a dessert family, so I love some good desserts and then good turkey and food. But we're gonna be eating like kings.
It's gonna be good
that day, so it's gonna be good. So I'm looking forward to that.
We need to make sure we're doing some, and we can talk about this offline. But make sure we're doing some things for what the actual holiday represents, because our kids will be there.
for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what we're all about, just representing other
Showing
people.
respect.
Showing respect for others. And I think the reason why I wanted to talk about respect is because we knew starting the movement we were all going to get backlash from, people who have an opinion but don't know how to effectively debate that opinion. And I just want to make sure that we're talking about respect, and we're going to be subjected to people's opinions, judgments, weaknesses, and I have been targeted for once a couple of times from people who didn't agree with what I had posted or while I recorded. So, which you guys all were participating in some of those,
fun.
which is fun times. And I believe that we should respect the opinions of others, and your conduct should be mature enough that you could debate without slandering the other person. And if you cannot do that, then you either walk away or just don't say anything at all and agree to disagree.
I'm going to touch on that. I saw something that was awesome just recently that said when the debate has been lost, slander is the only thing left.
Absolutely.
We live in a world full of that crap right now, man.
Yeah, because nobody is intellectual enough to have a true debate and actually have enough self-respect to have a true debate. And you just automatically resort to, oh well, you're stupid, or you're not Jesus, which is your case,
Right.
Wilson,
Yeah.
you were not Jesus. Yeah.
Heaven forbid.
Hey, just disclaimer. Hold on before we start. Chris Wilson is not Jesus. We're just gonna put that out there right now. So if you're listening to this, Chris Wilson is not Jesus.
I'm so glad you clarified.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear.
There was only one, and he did a much better job than I did. So we're
Kanye
good
will
with
actually
that.
tell you about him right now.
Yes.
Quit interrupting O'Neill.
I think the biggest thing is going back to the slander thing is it just really shows a lack of emotional and intellectual maturity. You know, and I think that people are more focused on their phones and their TVs nowadays than they are really having meaningful conversations. And a lot of times that conversation is being held over Facebook, which is not the correct media.
It's just to get attention.
It is, you know, and I think some people mean well when they start there, and then you start having the feelings because you don't really hear that person or how the conversation is going. And then people start flying off, and it ends up being a comedy show more than anything because there's just fools everywhere. You know?
Well, how many times have we had, you know, in our group thread where we're talking about the progression of what we're doing with the project of Shepherds of Men, and you know the different channels and avenues we're going down as things grow, and we all have our opinions and our thoughts and all those kinds of things, and there is some that medium is productive to some extent, but when it starts getting into where you need to have a conversation, I mean, how many times have we said, "Hey, we need to talk about this live"?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Like this is not a text string thing. This is a, you know, we're talking about changing the world. Let's have a conversation.
And if you think bringing 4 A-type personalities together and agreeing upon how a podcast is going to be ran, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody sees with what we do. Man, you got another thing coming. Some of the conversations, I would almost rather just record some of the stuff we talk about behind the scenes and then just put that out there one day.
That's for later.
Just be
Yeah,
like,
that'd be later.
just,
That'd be blooper
maybe
reels
for our
or-
mature audience. Maybe like you have to qualify to hear
Right.
some of that stuff. But that's true though. That's a great point. I mean, they're not easy conversations, but the difference is, like you said, there's a mental maturity there where we can look at each other and go, you know what, you really pissed me off. But you pissed me off because of this, and instead of getting defensive, you're like, okay, all right, I see where you took that wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're stupid.
Yeah.
But so am I.
Yeah, but but in all honesty, it's one of those situations where we can look at each other and go, dude, you pissed me off, and you go, oh, okay, dude, my bad, bro. Like, because that's not weak.
Right.
That's a certain level of strength. You have to look at one of your bros, another guy that is an alpha male, and go, you know what? That's my bad. I gave off the wrong perception of what I meant by that statement.
Well, and I think this is a good cross section of just society as a whole, and some people would argue that, obviously, but just as a small example of us taking the time to go, regardless of what you said or I said or whatever, or what the situation is, the foundation is we're boys. Right. The foundation is we respect each other and we love each other, and we care about each other and each other's families on top of that, and care about this movement, you know, even bigger. So even though those things happen, if we go back to that foundation, then it creates a productive conversation, you know, as opposed to just bickering and bitching and everything else. It goes back to there's something that matters. You're another human, you know?
Exactly. And I was hoping you were going to go that direction, because that's the foundation of all of us in this world is we're all humans. And no matter what color, background, race, what job type you have, what education level you have, whatever your background is or whatever your upbringing is, you are human, and other humans should respect and be okay with that, you know, and not to slander you in that debating type of world or whatever the case may be. So I love that.
You know, I'm going to say one more thing on this before we move on. You know what's funny about that? If somebody's listening to this right now and they're saying, what do you know? You're just 4 white dudes. And you just proved our point.
Yep.
Right.
Because you're looking at the wrong thing. Instead of just looking at everybody equal, you just said you're just 4 white dudes.
Right.
So shut up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. And race shouldn't matter. Color shouldn't matter.
It doesn't.
Education shouldn't matter. None of that stuff should matter.
Wait, I'm educated.
Yeah, we all are.
Was that a stab at people that aren't?
No.
Oh.
Just saying it shouldn't matter.
All right, just want to make sure.
But if you do talk to me and you're stupid, I mean, I'm going to have a hard time having a conversation.
I respect you as a human. But
I respect you as human, but I can't talk to you anymore. That's legit.
mentally immature. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Stupid.
I know a lot of people that are not formally educated.
I don't care about that. I'd rather talk to somebody that has a lot of common sense than somebody that's overly educated, because usually the overly educated people just make me want to punch them in the mouth.
Isn't that funny how that's an oxymoron today? Because it had to have at some point not been an oxymoron. Oxymoron is when it says
What,
something, but it means
overeducated?
the opposite. No. Common sense.
Oh, common
It's
sense.
not
I think
common.
overeducated is wrong.
No, because it's not. Yeah, it's not common. So at some point it had to be
Right.
Like people were like, "Hey, this is common sense." So
Right.
the educated individuals that were the high end educated individuals that didn't have the common sense were probably a rarity. So it was more common back then, and now everybody has to go to college, and you have to be highly educated and not know how to tie your shoes. So,
Well, I think the requirement of knowing things is to be in debt. So that's why they want you to go to college first.
Right. It's a
because then you're
So we can
intellectual.
really get on.
Yeah, we're really getting it now.
somewhere.
You're implying that college is a business.
What?
No.
No, you said that.
way.
No, you said that.
So we're talking about respect, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about it. And for everybody who's listening that did go to college, good for you. Hopefully you're using it. If you're not,
I hope you had a good time.
yeah, you better had a good time. So, but I do believe that we live in a society that people do not respect each other. Quite just out there, bland.
Did you say bland?
Well, not bland. What am I trying to say?
Frankly.
Frankly,
Frankly.
that's the word. To be frank, you don't
To be
respect each other.
bland. To just have no seasoning whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, you got to use that context too.
so
I mean,
great.
You could.
This is too much.
Salt and light, baby.
Hey, welcome to the movement. My name's Wilson.
Crying, dude.
So, but you see how people react to political reviews, to religion, to law enforcement. Oh my God, we can go on a tangent on that one. Racial backgrounds. I mean, the main point I wanted to drive home with this discussion is that we're all humans, like we just talked about, and then we should respect each other's views, beliefs, no matter what they are, and due to our humanity that connects us all to life. So, but the questions I wanted to ask you guys: what's your personal definition of respect, and how do you give respect in the first time you meet somebody in that regard? Just kind of give an example or whatever.
I'll start. I think that I respect, as we've been talking about, I respect everyone on the surface level, right? Just naturally, I think you should. And I know we've discussed this before, but I mean, until somebody has done something to cause me to not respect them or not trust them, then I have no reason not to, right? Because I just think that's truly how you should feel. Like you're another person. Just for being alive and being a person, I respect you, right? Or just I respect that you have rights and and responsibilities, and we share a space together on this big ball of mud, and all those kinds of things. But when it comes to like a different level of respect, as far as like I want to listen to anything you have to say, like that's earned.
Absolutely.
That's definitely earned, or like respect of like a brother, like we are. This is not just, this was earned from each of us, earned it from the other ones,
Absolutely.
it's because we've served each other, and so you earn that respect. But I mean, just respect in general is, I don't think something that is given lightly, other than that surface level respect. But I believe it can be gone in an instant. I mean, like it really can. Like it takes a long time to build a building up, but you can drop it pretty quick.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, I agree with that. I think there's like three different types of respect. So you have like here I'll do it this way. So I'll do it in order. So there's a 1, and then there's a 2, A and B, because I don't know if one is more important or not, or less important. The first one is self-respect. In my opinion, I think you have got to learn how to respect yourself. Now, that's a whole nother episode. We'll touch on some of it in this one. But to be honest with you, man, if you don't do enough on a daily basis to respect yourself or to build that self-respect, then respecting others is out the window. You're probably a shithead. To be honest with you, I'm just gonna be completely honest. If you don't respect yourself at all, you're probably a shithead. I mean, it's almost a given. And then I would say 2A would be general courtesy, especially as a man. If you're a man, there should be a certain level of just the general courtesy that you give to everybody. Because there are people watching you all the time, and I'm not just talking about kids and young men. I'm talking about women out there. There's that. Man, show women how a woman should be respected. I mean, go open a door.
Yes.
Like, and I know there's some old school stuff like pulling out a chair. I don't always do that and stuff. I'm not saying that every step of your day should be perfect and you should be an unbelievable gentleman at all, but you should strive for that.
Right.
I mean, hold
Look
the door
for
for
opportunities.
People.
Yeah.
Say hi to people. I don't care what they're wearing. We talked about that before. I don't care what your status is. If you got a 5-piece suit on, or if you've got a shirt that's a little bit tore up and some muddy boots.
Do you ever find yourself like more apt to say hi to the guy in the muddy boots?
Yeah.
Like just because probably not that many people said hi to him today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I look for those
Sure.
to go, I want to say something to that guy that feels like nobody sees him.
Yeah. And to be honest with you can go, and that's why general courtesy is important, because when you start talking to people on the regular, you start to realize that every guy that has muscles isn't a jerk. Every guy that's wearing a 5-piece suit isn't a jerk. Everybody that's got mud on their boots isn't a dumbass. Like, that's what's great about that, and that's why general courtesy is important, because you go start having conversations with people, you start to realize that people are not defined by their appearance. Now, on the other side of that is kind of like Cameron was talking about, and I would say this is 2B, because I don't want to put general courtesy or earned respect, one or the other, over either one of them, because I think earned respect is one of the greatest things that you can do outside of your own respect for yourself, is just because, man, that's where you develop that brotherhood. That's created in the crucible. You know, that's where the fire's at. That's where you go through tough times, man. You go into battle with those kind of guys. I think, like, a lot of times with the earned respect, I think of military. I think of guys that have gone into battle together. Like, there's a different conversation that happens between people that have earned the other man's respect. It's just a different conversation.
When you bleed with somebody, or when you're in the fight with somebody, you have to respect. You've seen it.
Absolutely.
You've seen the sacrifice, you know? So that's why there's a higher level or a deeper level, I guess, which depending on how you want to look at it.
No, I agree with you guys, man. I think there's a basic level of respect. As far as what respect means to me, I think that everyone gets that basic level right off the bat. You know, no, you don't have the brother respect. No, you don't have the leader respect. It's just the basic, the preservation of human life respect, right? And safety kind of thing. Maybe I was just made with the defender gene, I guess, but preserving other people's lives. You have the basic respect to me that if you're hurt, I'm going to check on you whether I know you're not. Right. If
no matter what you look like.
Right. No matter what you look like if someone's out there trying to hurt you, like, I'm going to help. That's just the way I'm built.
Yeah.
So
every hairy-faced individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. So, but that's the way I'm built. So I think that, you know, preservation of life and wellness is kind of a basic respect that I give everybody. I think that the respect is on a brother level. It kind of comes along the line with more trust as well. Everyone gets, like you said, everyone gets the basic respect. Everyone gets the trust. Now, the farther, I think there's different tiers, right? You have the leadership trust that you can give people that you trust to be in those roles, whether it's business or otherwise. And then you also have your brother respect, like the guys at this table, you know, not just family, but the guys that have earned that trust and the guys you would go to battle with, right? Not necessarily your blood relatives.
Absolutely.
But the guys, your battle buddies, you know, is what I would call them. Then you have that. It's more of that's a different kind of respect in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? When you're willing to, I think protecting people and taking a bullet from someone on a respect level is completely different, you know? And both of those levels, one of them is basic and the other one is forged in fire, you know, and through different situations and whatnot. But I think it's sad to see the lack of respect that's out there nowadays. And it's something that, you know, it's tough to combat, man, because of Disney Channel, because of Nickelodeon. You know, there is a lack of respect in those TV shows to where the kids think that's just how they're supposed to communicate with adults or their parents, you know, because, you know, when summertime comes, kids are out of school and then they're chilling in front of Netflix playing video games. Parents are out, you know, and dads are usually out grinding, you know, and that's how, you know, whether the mom's home or not, typically the kids are obviously we always try to get the kids out and be active, but a lot of times they're in front of the TV, you know, chilling. I mean, I was growing up and that's what I saw. You know, but my dad was in the Marines and I'd get smacked real quick. You know what I'm saying? So, and that was the thing, you know, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I didn't know that until I came out here. That was totally foreign to me.
See, that's the difference, though. You have your dad who actually would give you repercussions for being disrespectful. Man, I've seen parents like straight up have their kids yelling, hitting, and also and they give like a little love tap, like something small. I'm like,
I love you enough to tap your ass hard,
dude. Yeah. You gonna feel this tomorrow. That's all I gotta say.
It's like I said on the post that sparked all this. Whenever whoever it was, we're gonna go unnamed, decided to come after you. I have no problem following through when it comes to, and what I mean is the spanking. Like,
exactly.
I'm talking about follow through.
Right, follow through, like actual follow through.
But I love what you said about how, you know, just, and I don't want to group it all into just media and stuff like that. But there is a certain. The reason that people don't respect people today, in my opinion, is because everybody can hide behind a username and talk shit.
Oh man, keyboard! Did you see what Tyson put up? Tyson put up something. It's so funny. I just interrupted you. Finish your thought.
No,
I got to add
fine.
to it.
It's fine. Well, and you're probably segueing into exactly. I'm about to hand off the ball to you here because, in my opinion, if you wouldn't, and this is the way that I try to live things. If I wouldn't say it to somebody's face,
right,
I'm not saying it behind a username because that makes me a bitch. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, it makes me a bitch. If I would not say it to your face, I'm not going to sit on Facebook and say it.
Right.
I'm not going to sit behind any social media, and I could name a million of them. That's why I say username.
Yeah.
But people have become accustomed to that.
Yeah.
They've never been punched in the face for being an asshole.
Exactly.
That's exactly what he says. He says something. It was something I was looking on social media earlier, and Mike Tyson basically, and I didn't read the article yet, so I'm not, whatever. But just the title or whatever. He basically said people have gotten too comfortable talking shit on social media that they don't know what it's like to get punched in the face if you say something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I think that if we were able to hold you accountable and say you said something and that person could find you and be
back in the day you couldn't say it on social media. You had to say it in their face, and then you get punched out.
And then that's how disputes kind of handled. And dude, a lot of the relationships that I have that still are in old school that we got in a fight a couple times, and then it's like, all right, cool, man, what's up?
I've got more respect for the people I've fought than the people that just talk shit.
Exactly.
Well, of course, yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
So I mean, it's very.
You
important.
can't do that nowadays. Now you get shot after you fight somebody, they're stabbed or something crazy,
or get a police report. And
yeah. You can't just handle the ass whooping and go, you know what, dude? All right, round 2 tomorrow or what?
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's
severe. You beat the hell
right.
out of each other, and you sit there, and you're in like the front yard. Neither one of you can breathe anymore.
Yep.
I mean, that's if you're evenly matched, obviously, but you can't breathe anymore. And all of a sudden, it's like, dude, let's just go get a beer. And they end up being, like you said, end up being some of the best friends you have. Now, sometimes if they earned it, it may not be. I mean, there's times where it's like, dude, you come around again, you're going to get another one kind of thing. But for the most part, if it's just a dispute, sometimes the best way to handle it. That's why men, I'm a firm believer that men can get over stuff and women can't because men get rid of it.
Because they actually handle it.
That's right. They get rid of it.
Dude, bike rack 3 o'clock, dude.
Well,
right. Some of the best times are at the bike rack.
Well, we used to have the hill.
When I played football, a coach would say, "All right, let's go. Put the gloves on. Let's go."
Oh,
I mean, he'd let you duke it out, and then afterwards, he'd come in and goes, "All right, everything's
you
good."
Get it out,
dude.
You get it out,
dude. My coach was like, "If any of you can't practice afterward, you're off the team."
But this is my.
That was it.
So this is my thing though. Why do you respect that guy? Like, since we're talking about respect, So let's say that me and you get into it, and you're mad at me about something. I'm
nervous.
I'm mad at you. let's just say we get.
I'm wiry. I'm small, but I'm wiry.
but we're mad at each other about something. Let's say that we're not even boys. Like we're not doing what we're doing right now. But we get into it and we get out in the yard and we scrap.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that as a man you respect that man across from you for the most part? I mean, now if he jumps in on your wife or something like that, that's a whole nother level. You don't mess with money. You don't mess with a man's wife.
You're talking about just handling a situation.
You have a disagreement in the bar,
right?
Like you guys are in the bar
or wherever,
disagreement or church,
or church. I typically don't fight in church, but sometimes if it's called for,
Jesus flipped tables.
That's exactly right. You start doing some dumb stuff in my church, we'll probably still. Hey, Jesus is a bad. He's a bad dude, man. He's a bad dude.
He
wasn't a pacifist.
You see the abs on that guy?
He was respected.
Just look at any of the statues, man. He's got abs everywhere. Why do you have respect for that person? Yeah. Because you handled your business. Because you were willing to not to steal back my tagline that Wilson stole from me first episode is you're not a pussy. That's why I respect you, because you're not weak.
Yeah.
And you're standing your ground. You're saying, hey, this is important to me, and I'm going to fight you to the part.
And
I can still disagree with whatever we disagree on, but I at least respect the fact that you are that passionate about it. And to take it back, to dial back from the punching each other in the face to just the conversations that you see on social media and the news or whatever all this garbage is, man, it's so ridiculous. And nobody's actually being productive. They're just yelling at each other. Right? So they're not actually handling anything. So they don't actually truly respect each other because they're not actually handling business. They're just all seeing who can talk louder and get more attention.
And that's kind of what I was getting at. Sorry, I don't mean to jump in there again, but that's kind of what I was getting at. And it doesn't have to be in the yard fighting. And I'm glad that you kind of dialed it back a little bit. We're getting into the
cock diesel up in here.
The barbarian way of doing stuff. But the whole point in that is they stepped up.
Yeah,
that's the biggest point. If somebody steps up, and I don't care if it's in an argument, like if we're going back and forth and you're willing to stand up for your opinion without being douchey about it. Like, dude, look, this is the way that and you're able to stand. I can respect you for that.
Yeah.
And I would dare say, as we at this stage in our life, just speaking of the four of us, we'd be different than we were when we were in our early 20s.
Oh yeah.
About those situations, because in our early 20s, it probably would be a brawl in the front yard. Whereas this stage in our life, which ain't that much older, just in case anybody's listening, I still got some in the tank. Just in case anybody's wondering.
Just end it quicker.
I just because I get winded faster. like we done? Because I am.
We just go toward the throat.
No, but I think what you realize is as you get more mature is that that cockiness or that peacocking, swelling your chest out kind of stuff is not really the productive part. It's the, hey, you feel passionately about what you believe. I feel passionately about what I believe. Why don't we sit down and actually talk man to man and actually listen to each other man to man? And that's where I think we start going past. I think that fighting is just a progression or the beginnings of how do we get to where we're actually listening to each other.
I honestly think fighting is a lack of maturity. I think
that's why when you're young,
you want to fight everybody because you don't know how to deal with those conflicts. And I don't believe that respect nowadays is actually being taught correctly. I don't think it's being
just
taught
not examples being set.
Yes, not enough examples. That's perfect. I'm glad you said that.
And that's something I bring up all the time to people in those situations to try to diffuse them, especially when I see a couple friends going at it for something stupid like politics. I say stupid like politics, like fighting over politics, left or right, whatever. I think it's just not the right medium. So go get a coffee and shut up. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do it in real life anyway. You guys are twigs. So, but the biggest thing is, like
I love that.
Can live 5 pounds. But the thing is, you should have the mental maturity and intellectual maturity to be able to tolerate someone else's opinion without accepting as your own. I say it all the time.
Yep.
But the big thing is that you should also be able to have an open mind to be able to hear someone's opinion without automatically shutting it out. Like, that's not what I believe. Shut up. You're this, you're that, bigot, whatever. Racist. It's always bigot or racist is always the go-to.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, dude, I'm nowhere even close. Are you kidding me? Like, it blows my mind. You don't even know me. Don't call me. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times when someone comes to me like that, I'm like, your opinion has been noted. and invalid.
Now it's in the trash file, but it's noted
invalid.
I love how he gets into the game show host voice. Your opinion has been noted.
Right.
But that's what it is, though. So like when people come, and I don't have that a lot because that's not the medium I choose to speak about it. If people have different opinions, I think it's great. I tell them, I definitely hear you out, man. I'd love to learn. Yeah, I'd love to hear your perspective on a view because people's opinions are driven by their perspectives and your perspective is driven by what you've experienced in your lifetime, right?
So your input, your surroundings. Yeah,
exactly.
I had that same conversation there was a guy I was having a conversation with this dude I hadn't seen in a long time. He had posted something about, I don't even want to bring it up because I know we'll get on a tangent about it. But I asked him a question on there and responded to it. And we went back and forth maybe 1 or 2 times each. And it's a pretty high level. Like, it's one of those when you bring up this particular topic, like, shit hits the fan. And so when it started getting to that point where we realized we didn't quite agree with each other, I said, dude, I'm not a big fan of having this conversation on Facebook. But I would love to grab some coffee and hear why you feel the way you feel.
And that instantly diffuses it.
Yeah, for sure.
Single time
and he was all about it. He's like, dude, I'd love to.
Yeah. And the point of the matter is, though, if you do that, they're going to feel you. They're going to see that you're not tense, where they're translating what you're saying in their mindset that's going to be blown all out of proportion. So, and get you back on task and on topic, having the respect to know, say, if you know that person well enough and you're reading a text, don't filter it through yourself. Say, okay, would this guy really or this girl really mean this way? And or are you just reading into it too much? Right. On that point, though, but I want to talk about how respect is earned, because I've grown in a family that some folks in our family felt like respect was given, like it was not earned, it was just demanded in a sense, and I know for a fact that that's not true. I think respect is earned. In my point of view, I think that you earn it every single day. I think it, like what JP was talking about, it does come for the man or the woman in the mirror, looking at yourself. If you give yourself value, you respect yourself, you're going to give respect to other people, and I think it starts there, and then it goes into the people who earn that extra respect. I mean, you should always automatically, like y'all were talking about, you give me a handshake and say, hey, my name is, and I'm going to say, hey, my name is, and you have a mutual respect. But now moving forward, you're going to have to earn the extra levels by service and things of that sort. But what, in y'all's opinion, what helps you or that individual earn your respect?
Okay, so are we talking about earning respect or having somebody else?
How we think it's
how you think it's earned for you for
Okay, all right,
for me to earn your respect? What do I have to do or show to you to get that respect?
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna come at you. Okay, so we're not talking about self-respect. We're talking about somebody else earning my respect.
Correct.
Okay, so
how is respect earned?
As far as I'm concerned, it's one of those things where we kind of spoke on this briefly as far as being like it's earned in the fire, in the crucible. It's one of those things where I respect you based off of your decisions that you make in life, and you don't make decisions based off of other people's opinions. Other people's opinions drive your decisions. I tend to lose respect in people like that, but
think for yourself.
Yeah,
you say that all the time.
Yep, that's right. Yep. If you're driving your decision making and you're making it based off of what you think is right, and you're intelligently making stuff, I tend to respect people like that. So for me personally, that rolls right into a repeated demonstration of integrity. I respect men that respect themselves, and you can tell that men respect themselves by their integrity that they hold. There's certain things that men do, and I'm talking about some of the little things are what really get me. When I look at another man as far as respect goes, if I see another man going, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir, and I don't care how old they are. I've seen older men look at young men and say, yes, sir. And when you see the look on a kid's face, when an older man, especially a man that they respect, like you look at some of these, old war veterans or something like that, and they look at a young man, they take a knee in front of him and say, yes, sir, that's what you need to be doing. That little boy, it lights up a little bit, those kind of things. And young, old, whatever it is, but there's certain demonstrations of integrity for me that earns that respect. And generally it's kind of some of the smaller things. And then Cameron, you mentioned this earlier, the servitude. I respect people that are servants to other people. Because if you really want to make an impact, and the whole point of what we're doing with this movement is to serve other people. Like, we don't obviously get paid to do this. We do this because there's a certain level of understanding that we have gotten from other people that have poured into us, and we believe that it is our responsibility to do that. But there's a certain level of servitude, and you can do it by action. You can do it by speaking into people. I mean, I know you do this all the time, man. This is something I've witnessed you doing to several people. It's something you love. You can tell you're passionate about it. I got a lot of respect for you in that field because it's something that you constantly do, is speaking into people and stuff like that. So, a couple things there just for me. I don't want to take up any more time, but
that's awesome. I mean, I agree wholeheartedly, and I wanted to touch on something that you said about the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am kind of thing, and how a grown man saying that to a young man, and just really nothing too deep, but just something practical. I want to stop and help people understand that the way that young men know to say that is if you say it. So if people, because I know for a fact from the feedback that we've gotten from our listeners that some of this stuff is the first time they're hearing it.
That's
I mean, which is crazy to me, but it's probably more prevalent than we think. It really is, actually we know it is, because that's why we're here.
So I grew up outside of the South, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything about the South is right, but that is one of the greatest things about raising a family in the South is the respect factor.
Yep.
Because I've grown up in other areas that are great places. I'm not saying they're not great places, but there's a certain level of respect in the South that you learn that you don't learn in other places. You know that too,
dude. Yeah, yeah. Growing up out west. I mean, way different.
Way different.
It was actually more of it's considered an insult almost to say yes sir and yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am out west. I'm not old.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah, and that's the response you get, and you're like, and then I'm coming out here to visit my dad when I'm a kid in the summer, and then I'm getting smacked upside the head like, no, what'd you say? And you're like, what did I say? What? And you get another one, you're like, oh, what? And he's like, yes, sir. And you're like, oh, yeah, my bad, dude. Yes, sir. That's a thing.
I still correct my kids all the time. And now they a lot of times they do it, but some of the younger ones, they still don't all the time. Sometimes the older one doesn't. And that correction can be a little more strong.
My 3-year-old's like, I'm like, what was that? Yes, ma'am. I'm like, That's good enough.
I'm not a ma'am.
Not a ma'am, but you get it.
But
It's
my
good.
point of that is like people that are listening that this is new information. Like, man, there's a part of me that like, man, that's hard to grasp, but I know it's a reality, which is why we're here. But if you're wondering like, okay, great. How do I now, my kid's already 3, 4, 5 years old. How do I now start saying the proper way to address someone is yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. One is telling them, yes, for sure. But the other one is always example.
Yeah.
Always, you do it to everybody around you, but also do it to them, which is going to seem a little weird at first. But to my little guys, I'm always, yes, sir, or sir, when I'm asking questions, sir, what'd you say? Because then I'm addressing them like I expect them to address me, right? And we're not equal in the sense that I am their father and those kinds of things, but it is, I'm showing them respect, which goes back to, I'm showing them respect, which then earns respect, right?
Absolutely.
So
you have to give to get back.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's talking to answer your question as far as how you earn it. I want before I get into answer the question, I want to go off what Cam said as far as duplicating that respect with your children. Is your kids will all, and this is all over the place too, but it's one of my favorite quotes out there to parents is your kids will always follow your example more so than they will follow your advice. Mm-hmm. You could sit there and tell your kids that you're blue in the face, but if you're not fucking doing it, your kids will not listen. You kidding me? Like how, and that's a loss of respect right there, man. If you're telling your kids to do something you're not doing, lost respect.
If
easy.
you say do as I say, not as I do, you're done. You're missing it.
Please don't duplicate that to your children. You're totally missing it. But as far as earning respect, that's big, man. Leading from the front, leading by example, right? I think I've duplicated a lot of the leadership qualities that I've seen in my wife when she was running a restaurant and the family environment she created there, and my former supervisor and the environment that she created and team environment where I work, and also my supervisor prior to that in a technician field and the team environment he created there. And, every single one of them led from the front and really duplicated how they wanted the team. They wouldn't say, we want it like this. They would show you how they wanted it. This is how we're going to be. Bam. And then you see the example. This is how we're going to be. So they're saying it and they're doing it. Right. They're not behind the desk all day. They're not just sitting there. They're not checking. It's a completely different mindset as far as earning that respect from your guys and girls. Is you need to be with them. Spend some time with them in the car. Like my guys, I told today, I was like, if you need me, and I told them that I said, our 80% mindset, 20%, physical action. I said, if that bitch voice comes in, I got you. You call me immediately and we'll get rid of it. Like you said, I love talking to people. That's my thing. So mindset and mental toughness is me. And I told him, all the guys lit up. I got a bunch of football players on my squad, so they're all like,
let's go, coach.
But yeah, they were good with it, and I just told him, it's like, dude, we will never lose on this team. We will always find a way to win, But that's what it is being there for your guys, earning that respect. We've all been there for each other. Absolutely. Which is what everything is forged in fire, like JP said. And I said earlier, everything we've done is forged in fire. You earn that respect by leading from the front and being there for your guys.
Well, I saw that example when I was a kid. My dad owns a small business. And everything you're talking about, I saw played out. And he didn't even, and my dad is the quintessential example of being the example, but not necessarily teaching you something. He doesn't say a lot of words. He talks more now than he did ever when I was a kid. Like he barely said anything, but I could just watch his life. I could watch his example. And even then it wasn't like a conscious thing. It was more of a subconscious thing. And as I got older, I started realizing the things I saw, and as I matured, I started looking back and seeing the example that he set and realizing how powerful it was. I didn't recognize it at the time, but it sunk in. And one of the things that he used to tell me, owning a small business, he owns a logging company. I just hope that offends somebody. Lord have mercy.
Right.
Wipe your ass with a seashell like they do on whatever that movie is. But
Demolition Man.
Right, that one. But he would always, you have machinery. Machinery is run by hydraulic hoses. Hydraulic hoses bust. That's what happens. But in all kinds of other stuff. My dad was the first one to get down in the mud, get dirty, change out stuff, do the stuff that nobody wanted to do, and he owned the company. And my uncle, too. They own it together. They both would. They've always worked their company, not just sat back and let everybody else do it. And I remember him telling me when I was young, he said, and we're talking about respect is the reason I want to bring this up.
Right.
You can go to anybody that has ever worked for him. Like, you just see the way they look at him. To this day, how much respect they have for my dad. as their employer, even if it was a former employer, current employer, whatever, they knew for a fact that he was in the fight with them. And he would tell me stuff. He would say, you never ask another man to do something you're not willing to do. Absolutely. And the only way that they know that you're willing to do it is if they see you do it.
Exactly. Dude, and that is good shit. And what college did your dad go to?
It was the School of Hard Knocks.
Ivy League, right? It was an Ivy League.
Yeah, he went to, I think, 6 months of a junior college, actually.
So
yeah.
I'm really, really, really glad. That's good shit, dude. I'm really glad you brought that up. That's great, because that was exactly what was going through my mind, because I was reading something about John Wooden, and he said he didn't say this. This is something that somebody else was talking about him. One of the reasons that his players respected him so much is because they would regularly catch him doing things that a janitor should be doing. He would be in the gym in there sweeping the floor. He would be in there picking up trash. He would be doing stuff like that. And everybody knew how much value he had in his head, but it never carried a status in his mind.
There's a difference. Yeah.
He respected every single person that was in that stadium, and that's one way to lose respect, is to walk around with a status. Like,
well, I think you could easily say you can't have status and respect in the same mindset.
That's probably a great point. That is a great point. If you want to earn people's respect, stop walking around trying to be statusy. Just because you got a big job and you got a nice suit doesn't mean you have to be statusy. You want to impress some people, walk around in a 5-piece suit and pick up a piece of trash on the side of the road. You talk about people blowing people's minds. Why don't you try that once?
Right.
Yep.
That's good stuff, guys. And I hope you're listening in, whoever is listening today. This is really good. And take these practical steps to actually apply this into your life. Don't just listen to it and go, oh, that's good. Let's apply it. One thing I want to talk about, a few just bullet points on these topics, is why a man should have respect, or why is it important to have respect with your wife, your work, your kids, family, as a man in general, and then with your friends. Y'all give me just one topic that comes to head.
Is getting laid too easy? No, let's be honest.
You took mine.
Let's be honest, man. If you want your wife to respect you, you better start doing some of the stuff that you think she should be doing. And I'm telling you, the reason I bring that up and the reason that I'm so passionate about that is that hits home. Being a A-type personality and what I would like to call an alpha male, there's a big.
Damn.
Was that?
I think that was disrespect.
No. I think that was a queef. Was that a queef? But anyways,
wow.
So
Gabriel Wilson. My
point to that is there's a lot of times that I sit back and go, well, wait a minute, my wife should take care of the house. Like, my wife should do that, and that's. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I'm glad you said it out loud, not me.
If you're not married,
he's on record.
A significant relationship. Hear me now.
And by significant, we mean get freaking married
to a woman.
Yeah. If you're a dude.
if you do not have a relationship as of this point, hear me. Do not think that it is her responsibility to do the dishes, sweep the floor, vacuum, stuff like that. So I'll tell you what, and it's to be honest, man, as far as gaining your wife's respect, man, do the dishes, change a diaper if you have a baby. And
if you don't, it's really weird.
You will get things like your wife will start to
like things that you want your wife to give you.
But we've spoke about this in previous episodes. If you're missing out, if you do not remember where we talked about this, then you need to rewind and go back a couple episodes because you're missing out. I apologize. But it's one of those things where 5 love languages is one of those things that you need to go and research and read. Yes. That book is amazing, and I'm telling you, I said it before. I let it sit on my shelf for a while because I thought, hey, I don't need no 5 love languages. I know what I'm doing. But you can learn how to gain your wife's respect based off of her love language. I mean, it's real stuff. I mean, every woman has a certain type of love language. Most women tend to be in a couple of categories. Men tend to be in the other categories, but. I mean, doing those little things, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's important to gain your wife's, respect because there's a chance you'll be with her the rest of your life.
Yeah, your kids are gone after 18 or
plus,
whatever.
Guess who's there when you're sleeping?
Right. Yeah, and my wife doesn't sleep as soundly as I do. Actually, that's not true. I don't.
You want her on your team.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and we talk about it all the talk about that all the time. Is man, same team.
Yeah.
But blue on blue. But back to what you said, doing stuff around the house, dude. When the dishes pile up, dude, and I'm just like, over there. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm in here doing the dishes. She'll walk up and go, "Trying to get late."
Damn right.
My answer to that all the time is, "Am I awake?"
Yeah.
Dude, she
When am I not?
No, she ain't got to ask me, and I'm talking about the dishes.
Right.
I'll be in there clanging stuff. She'll be in the other room, like, bam, bam. I hope she hears this.
Well, here's the deal too. Okay, so for those people that are going like, because there's some old school guys that might be going like, I ain't doing the freaking dishes, I ain't vacuuming or whatever. That's my wife's job.
Bro, you're missing it.
You are missing it. But I also want to say, I'm not necessarily saying that dudes should be doing that all the time either. No. I think the point that JP's trying to make is that show your wife respect in the fact that you're willing and earn respect in what you're doing to take care of your family. I'll say this for myself. When my wife realized that I was busting my ass every day to take care of my family, I had her respect, right? She respected what I was doing to provide for her and my kids, not just financially, but a safe environment, a mentality, a place where they all could grow as individuals and a family unit, all those things. When she started realizing all that stuff, she didn't mind doing the dishes. She didn't mind mopping. She didn't mind doing those things. But when she thinks she's being taken advantage of, and that there's an expectation of you're going to do this and I'm going to do this and that's how it goes, that ain't gonna fly, dude.
And if you don't appreciate it, that's the problem. It goes unappreciated, unnoted. When's the last time that you actually looked at your wife and said, "Thank you for cleaning up the house"?
That's 100% true.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing that.
And if you think you said it a lot, you hadn't even started yet.
No.
And situational awareness is key to this. So if because again, we'll go back to the teamwork thing. Not setting the expectation your wife is supposed to do it all because you're a team. Situational awareness is key in this, because if you know your wife's had a long day, even if she's a stay-at-home mom, that's one of the hardest jobs there is. Sure. So if you know she's had a long day, stepping in and taking care of a couple things that maybe she normally takes care of, bro, you're in.
And
you're
not
in
actually saying, we were joking about clanging pans or whatever, but not actually saying anything about it, just doing it and let her recognize it. She notices, dude.
Powerful.
Well, so that goes back to the analogy we used earlier with a 5-piece suit and picking up trash on the side of the road. His job is not to pick up trash, and people respect him because he makes money. Let's just say he's a successful broker in New York. People respect him because he makes good money in Wall Street, and he's got a 5-piece suit on, and he's driving a Rolls or something like that. But him picking up that piece of trash, that's not his job. That is not his job. That's not his responsibility, but he picks it up. Right. The respect factor goes to a whole other level. Same thing in your house. You're the provider. Your sole job is to make sure that your family is taken care of and your family has a place to grow and to be safe and things of that nature. But it doesn't. Your job may not be to come in there and take care of that house or to do the dishes. And I know we talk about jobs, and that's probably a little bit off with that. But when you come in there and you do it, it's a whole other level.
Yeah, and I think it is important to have some roles, because your life and your family and your household can operate efficiently. But I think it's when you're willing to step in, even though that's not technically your role. And yeah, I know society, especially old school society, man's role was out of the house, woman's role was in the house. There's nothing wrong with that. People think that's sexist or whatever. No, it's just different roles. Right. It's just different. There's not one is more important than the other. They're both. Probably her role is way more important.
Yeah, but you damn sure better provide.
But you damn sure better provide. Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's where people got it twisted. But I was going to argue one thing you just said, JP. Not argue it, but I know where your heart is on this. But you said it's not his responsibility. The guy in the 5-piece suit that's a broker on Wall Street, he has a lot of respect because he makes a bunch of money. It's not his responsibility to pick up the trash. That's where I think we differ. Not me and you, but the shepherds compared to society, it is his responsibility to pick up the trash. Why? Because he's a freaking man.
And to defend myself,
I knew you didn't mean that way.
No. To defend myself with that, I appreciate you calling me out because I was thinking that while I was saying it, like responsibility wasn't the right word.
It's not his job.
That's not his job.
That's not his job.
And thank you. And you're absolutely right. And I misspoke when it came to that. But yeah,
that's why I said it. I was helping you.
I agree. No. Don't get me wrong. No, that's why I love every time I get to sit down with you guys and talk. That's why I love it, because we're all in the same mindset and stuff. And I agree with you 100%. And
I know you
said it best. It's not his job, but it is his responsibility. Yes, exactly. I agree.
So Cameron, you should have came in there and called him like a racist bigot or something for being wrong, right?
Exactly right.
That would have been way better.
JP, I'm very offended. And I'm going to post about it as soon as we leave here.
And I'm tagging you.
And I'm hashtagging everything.
I'm gonna take something you did back in middle school, and I'm gonna put it on there. There's a picture. I remember.
That's good. I'm going to post the Michael Jackson eating popcorn meme.
I love that one. I love that one.
That was so good.
Is there anyone that does this?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah, that one was great. Oh, if this was all recorded.
Yeah, just let that one turn around in your head for a minute. Think on it.
So wrapping up to our listeners, man, we if you're working on developing respect in your life and you're struggling with this now, here are some practical ways to start earning respect and respecting yourself in the process of becoming. One of my biggest things is you have to, like what JP was talking about earlier, is you have to respect yourself. Stay true to your word. Do what you say you're going to do, and don't sway from your personal beliefs. I think that you have to make a stand for something. Mm-hmm. You can't sway from one left to a right. You got to make a stand and take it and plant your feet, and don't take anything crap for it, which is pretty cool. Respect is earned, and you must show by your actions, not your lip service. Period. You must give respect in order to receive respect. I think that's one thing that most people think, that the entitlement mentality, they go around and say, oh, I'm a manager now, you have to respect me. No, you don't. You don't get that respect without earning it. And like what Chris was talking about, going around and serving your people. Man, if you've got people that are looking up to you, you've got to set the better example by serving them first. So you can't demand it. You have to earn it. So get off your high horse. Respect is a process. It's not a microwave type of deal. It doesn't happen overnight, and you got to understand that it's going to take some time, especially if you lost it. If you lost it, you got a huge uphill battle ahead of you. But you can earn it back one piece at a time. You can't tell them, you got to show them. So this is all for today, guys. I hope this has helped you. We appreciate you listening and your support. Remember, you can follow us on any social media platforms that are out there. You can find everything that you need to know about us at shepherdsof.men. And if you guys like the things that you're hearing, man, please do us a favor. Share it with your friends. Get on all the social media platforms. Continue to push out this message, the movement. We can't grow without you going and sharing it with your friends and going, crazy with this thing in a good way. So we appreciate it. But until next time, go become.